Okay, so I realized that I could have printed this smaller to avoid it being over 10 this direction, but if I printed it a little bit smaller, I wouldn't utilize the entire length of the 20 inch of the paper. And I think it's best to get as much as you can on there. Even though we don't want to sacrifice the image by letting it go off the edge, in this case, that little tiny more than ½ inch, literally like that, is not going to affect the composition. And I think it's best to take it off of the bottom, only because we talked before about these uniform triangles. These aren't totally uniform, but I just don't think you need that whole thing. So rather than try to center it, cut top and bottom, or shrink it, try to do a different measurement. And of course there's different ways to do this, and I don't know how your first attempt was. But I think, for me, I'd go to 10 right here. And then let it go all the way to the top. That could be part of the issue here, is this little squares at the bottom aren't as important as the full top. Negative space is a really good opportunity for watercolor technique. Alright, so here we've got the 10 and the 10. After we do this line, we'll be able to tell how much did we crop off and does it even matter. Boom. I don't think it even matters. But the only way to know is to take a scissor and cut it off, or to take some tape that you can totally not see through and go like this. Real carefully. And this tape is very transparent, so I'm going to have to put another. Okay, so there we've got a sense of this now, 10 inches. That to me looks great. And hopefully you haven't gone too far and that this is going to mess you up. But if it were me and this was my composition and I knew I needed to get the whole thing to stay, plus I needed to use the entire paper, I'd get rid of this dumb little edge. It's not that much. It's not like you've changed it. This is more important space than this. The negative, this background is the key to this image. Those triangles, not so much. So I really feel like this really did not impact things. So then just take a pencil and go 10 inches. And then I would write on mine, I'd say, use entire sheet. Use entire length of watercolor paper. Because it's 15 by 20. So now you've settled the 10 side. You just double it. Regardless of whether you use grid or gesture, or if you use a 1 inch or 2, any kind of grid, you still need to do 10, which you multiply by 2. Okay, now let's measure this way. This way, because these are sort of unusual formats of size, this is almost exactly 7. It's like 2 flecks below. So then I'm going to decide what's more important to lose, 2 flecks here or 2 flecks there. Well, clearly here is gorgeous. We can't do anything there. There, no brainer. So we're starting from this end. I'm starting with 7 right here. Exactly. And then where that ends, wait, hold on. I said there was 7 over. Oh yeah, anyway, this way, because we're going to let the extra be here. You know what? Forget it, because you know what? If you add extra here, this creates an awkward moment. If you were to add this, that would make the image hit here be terrible. You'd have this weird awkward moment. So never mind. See what I mean? If you added it there, you have horrible awkward moments. So no, forget this side. This side we're going to leave it as is. And we're going to extend that 2 flecks that are on there. Because we have to get here to 7, because that's a normal number. It's not really math, it's just, I guess it is kind of, but, and then I'm put a dot there. This is perfect. This is why you have to really slow down at the beginning, get it totally right. And see, now you're going to have this tiny fleck over here, but the fleck, even though it's tiny, makes more sense on this side. So then this can be extended here. This here this here, and this here. And there's nothing else on the whole picture. Maybe this fuzzy thing here. I mean, maybe this, but it's so light you can't even tell. So now it's it. It's perfect. So now this is one corner, one corner, one corner, corner. What I like to do is to take tape again, indicate this edge. I hope you don't have to redo this, but I do suggest, since, you know, it's just the beginning, that you do it. Now that I see it, I think this is a good approach. And then what I like to do is just kind of fill in a little, so you know. It's just good to know, because if you try to draw something and it goes off the edge and you're not going off the edge, it kind of messes up your whole rendering. It's the same thing with the trinkets. That's what, and it's all because the paper is 15 by 20, and it's all because the only paper that fits this situation we're in is that particular paper, and so it's just one more thing. But see, just doing that, now I know my composition goes a sliver that way and lost a smaller area here. Boom, done. So now we have a 7 by 10. I'm going to mark it. This is now perfectly 7. This is perfectly 10. Now on my paper, all I have to do is use the entire length and take 1/2 inch off the sides.